It's the murder of a Chinese restaurateur 6 weeks ago. He was killed by burglars at his home in London, but the possessions stolen by the killers could turn out to be their downfall. This is Gerrard Street in London's Chinatown, one of the few places in Britain you'll find Chinese jewellery. It was pieces identical to these that were stolen in the murder: 3 jade pendants, a dragon and phoenix bracelet, a wedding ring and a gold chain. The victim rarely came to this area, but his picture is now posted throughout Chinatown. His name is Shigeng Hung. He was killed, it seems, for £100 and that small amount of jewellery. He lived just off the Seven Sisters Road in Holloway. He'd moved from the United States last year to live with his son here in Sussex Way. He was a quiet, rather private man, with few friends or interests outside the family. At 66, he was in good shape and liked walking to keep fit. Monday, the 11th of August, was very much like any other day. And as usual, at about 10:30 that morning, he set off to stroll to Kentish Town, 2 miles away. Just around the corner from the Town and Country Club is Fortis Road and his son's fish and chip shop, the Sun Doe. Mr. Hung's son, Ging Huai Hung, has owned the shop for several years. He and his wife work hard here 7 days a week. That Monday, Shigeng Hung was especially pleased to see his granddaughter, Rosie. She and her mother had stayed the previous night in the living quarters above the shop. They were preparing food and making the pancake rolls to sell at lunchtime. Shigeng Hung knew a great deal about the catering trade. He jointly owned a restaurant in Brooklyn in New York. This photo was taken 11 years ago. He'd lived all across the world, in Guangzhou, in China, in Hong Kong and in Jamaica. After selling up the Brooklyn restaurant, he'd come to live in England 15 months ago with his son and family. The restaurant sale had left him money for his retirement, and he still had plans to travel before settling down. Mr. Hung stayed at the shop until closing time just after lunch at around 2:30. Then he and his son left to go back to Sussex Way to have their own lunch.
I have news about your son.
What is it?
Your son and your son now in Hong Kong. They I think this year will come back to Hong Kong.
You when想去啊？
大約聖誕時間啦嚇。
食飯，食啦。
The son remembers nothing was unusual that Monday afternoon. At about 4:45, he left to go back to the shop. His father seemed happy and at ease. Shigeng Hung loved reading and gardening. At 6:50 that evening, a neighbour noticed he was out in his garden cutting back the ivy. This was the last time Shigeng Hung was seen alive, except, that is, by whoever killed him. It seems he spent the evening quietly in the house. A light was on in the downstairs room where he normally watched TV.
Manchester United supporters have arrived back at Harwich after last night's violence in Amsterdam.
Whatever happened, the TV was certainly switched off by morning. We know he had an evening meal and washed the dishes, but the light stayed on all night. Sometime between 9 and 11 p.m, at least 2 people got into the house. They stabbed, tortured and battered Shigeng Hung to death. The man now hunting for his killers is Detective Superintendent Fergus Corker, and it was a particularly horrible and vicious killing, wasn't it?
Yes, it was an appalling attack on a defenseless man who suffered horrific injuries, and the people responsible must be caught.
Are they Chinese? English? Do we know?
At this stage, I can't really say.
Now, the jewellery they took is very distinctive. I've got one item here. This is pure gold, and it's quite something. The most recognisable piece, in fact, is identical to this. It is gold, and to describe it, here's Dr. Stephen Tang from Manchester, who's an expert in Oriental jewellery of this sort.
This is a gold bracelet, usually presented to the bride before her wedding. It's from the close relatives of the family, with a dragon and a finished design with a double happiness in the middle. It represents harmony and fortune. The value will cost the family perhaps a few thousand of dollars, Hong Kong dollars, and yet it's not the value that is money value that's important, it's the sentimental value that is within, which is most paramount.
So you need anybody who's seen that jewellery to call you. Any other clues?
Yes, any of that jewellery particularly, and about 4,500 luncheon vouchers were stolen of various denominations, but they're all marked in one of two ways. Either the marking of two lines across at the front of the voucher, or a form of Z-type marking. They're all marked in one of those ways.
I mean, frankly, if I've got several thousand luncheon vouchers, which perhaps I shouldn't have, or I've got this sort of jewellery, which again, maybe I shouldn't have, I'm going to be a bit worried about calling you.
Sure. Well, I would appeal particularly to any of the criminal fraternity who may have come into possession of those items to ring me in the strictest of confidence. I'm not worried about their possession at this time. I'm solely concerned in the identity of the people responsible.
You're not going to take action against them?
At this stage, no.
Now, what about the killers? How many of them? What do we know about them?
From the inquiries we've made so far, I'm satisfied that there were at least two of them, and they left the house and walked down Sussex Way in the direction of Seven Sisters Road, which is a very, very busy thoroughfare. As they turned into Seven Sisters Road, there is the Safeway supermarket, and directly outside Safeway's there is a bus stop with numerous buses stopping there and carrying passengers on up towards Finsbury Park.
Now, this is between 9 and 11 p.m. at night. Lots of people around, lots of pubs near there too.
That's right. No doubt at all, if people were at the bus stop or on the buses, I would appeal for them to recollect if they saw at least two people, both of whom indeed would have been bloodstained.
OK, those pubs, very quickly.
Yes, there's three public houses where people may have come from. The Enkill Arms at Hornsey Road, or the next one at the junction of Seven Sisters Road, and the Nag's Head at Holloway Road.
Right. There's a £5,000 reward. If you can help, please call us. A particularly horrible killing. The number to ring if you can help, 01811 8055. If you've any information at all, please call 01811 8055. You can speak to a detective or to a BBC researcher, and in English or in Cantonese. Or you can call the incident room at Holloway Police Station on 01 263 9090. That's 01 263 9090.